Hi friends, this is the math lesson for second grade. Today we are going to complete pages 310 and 309. Sorry, not sure why I said that backwards. 309, 310, and you need a centimeter ruler. Now, before we get started, you need to make sure that you watch the video called Making Equal Shares. It is on BrainPop. It will help you understand what we are doing in our lesson. So if you haven't watched that yet, please go back and do it. It's called Making Equal Shares on Canvas on BrainPop. And then when you're done with that, you can come back to this video. So for today's lesson, we are going to be drawing a bunch of rows and columns using our centimeter ruler. So what I'm actually going to have you do is on every single one of these problems, I want you to go and draw your centimeter lines, just like we did yesterday. You're going to do that literally on every single one on this page and the top 6 on this page. So go do that now. Pause the video. It's going to save us a lot of time once we get going. So you're drawing your centimeter lines. If you forgot how to do it, you need to make little marks on each centimeter line, except for the corners, of course. And then what you'll do is you connect them to make nice, straight, beautiful lines. And yes, you must use the ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can print one off of Canvas, or if you have a ruler at home, ask your parents if you can borrow it, and then you'll be good to go. So you can do your first one just like that. And again, mine is not perfect, but I'm doing the best that I can with my ruler. So pause the video, go through and draw all of your centimeter lines. Oh my goodness, friends. That took me a long time. I'm sure it took you a long time, but now that part's over. We are actually going to start on page 310. And this part is kind of like yesterday's work. I'm not sure why they don't do it back to back. But what we're doing here is we're just counting up those small squares again. Okay? So if you want to practice your repeated addition, like 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 12, you can. Or you can just count the squares. So what I would like you to do right now is pause the video again and complete number 16 through 21. All right, so we have number 16 has 12 squares, number 17 has 6, number 18 has 15, number 19 has 9, number 20 has 15, and number 21 has 20. Once you are done checking your work on that, go ahead and flip your paper back over. So today what we are going to do is we are going to do a little introduction to fractions. And we are going to focus on the fractions that are halves, thirds, and fourths. So halves, thirds, and fourths. And I'm going to go back to my little tiles from yesterday. If you have those handy, grab them. If not, that's totally fine. And I'm going to lay out 12 of them. The color doesn't matter. Put that down there, actually. Okay, so here are my 12 tiles. And again, if you want to do this as well, you can, or you can just watch my screen. So when I say that I want to divide something in half, I might say divide in half, or I might say divide in two, okay? And basically what I'm doing is I'm making two different parts that are the same. So if I divided like this, whoops, here are my two parts. Do you agree that I have two parts? Good, you should. One part, two part. But are these parts the same? Do they have the same number of tiles? No, they don't, right? So this is not dividing something in half. What I have to do, and this kind of goes back to our even odd, is I need to make sure that I have the same number in each group, okay? So if I took a 3 to this side and a 3 to this side, they're even still. And I have 3 and 3 left. So I would take these 3, and now I have one half right here and another half right here. So dividing something in half is making two equal parts or two equal shares. So let's take a break from those for a minute and let's do some work. So we're just going to focus on the numbers that say halves. So number 10, shade to show the halves. So this has 12 total squares, just like we just did. And in order to divide them in half to show a half, I'm going to color in, I need them to be equal. I'm going to shade lightly so you can still see your lines, 6. And that's what we just did with our little tiles. I have 6 that are shaded and 6 that are not. Okay, we're going to skip these two for a minute. We're going to go to number 13. We're going to show halves in two different ways. So I have a total of 16 squares. If you have a group of 16, you need to split it into two groups. Now, if you're not sure, here's what I would do. I would draw a line on the side. And I would count going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I got to 16 like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So there are my 16 squares, my 16 tiles, whatever you want to call them. How many do I need in each group to make a half? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I need 8 in each group to show a half. So let's look at our squares. Well, I know that if I have one column, that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And another column, that's also 4. So if I color in these two columns, I have 8 that are shaded and 8 that are not. But now I need to show it in a different way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this square and I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to color in my rows this time. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to color these in. And yes, you must do the 2 rows and the 2 columns that are next to each other. I can't color in this row and this row necessarily, because that's going to show something else, and you'll see in a minute. So 2 rows that are next to each other or 2 columns that are next to each other. Now, let's go back up top. I'm going to show thirds with 12. Well, I'm going back to my little tiles, and I'm trying to figure out how I can make thirds. Now, thirds is 3 groups. Halves was 2 groups. Thirds is 3 groups. So how am I going to make 3 equal groups? Well, I can kind of move these around and I can make some groups. So if I have one group here, and one group here, make sure you guys can see. Now I can do the same thing. I'm going to kind of bunch these up so I can save some room. Another one here, actually back to there. And I'm going in order, and I'm doing one at a time, staying in order. So in order to make 3 equal groups, what I'm doing is I split them up, and now I know that in order to make thirds, I have how many in each section? 1, 2, 3, 4. They each have 4. 3 equal groups of 4. So now I need to find, where do I see a group of 4? Remember, they all have to be touching. So here is a group of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is another group of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And lastly, the bottom row is another group of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in order to show each section, I'm going to color in this bottom row. That's one of my thirds. I'm going to leave my middle one blank. And I'm going to color in my top row. That tells me that this is 1/3, this is 1/3, and this is 1/3. All right, now let's talk about fourths. So I'm going to go back to my squares. I'm going to go back to my 12. Now, fourths just means dividing into 4 equal groups. So how do I figure out how many are in my group? Well, I can do the same thing I did before. I'm going to scrunch my things up, and I'm going to make 4 groups. Okay, so there's my 4 groups. Now I'm going to keep going. There's another round, and another round, and now I'm out. So how many are in each group? This time I have 3 in each group. So when I take my squares and divide them into 4 equal groups, or fourths, I have 3 in each group. So where do I see 3 on this paper? In this rectangle. I see each of my rows is a group of 3. So I'm going to color in this row. I'm going to leave this row blank. I'm going to color in this row, and then I'm going to leave that row blank. So this is 1/4, this is 1/4, this is 1/4, and this is 1/4. Now, moving down to number 14. I have this square now that has 16 total, and I need to show fourths. Maybe you already see it. Maybe you don't. That's okay. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to draw 4 large circles. And this is how we're going to figure out how many we need in each group. I'm going to put 1 dot or circle in each group, and I'm going to count. And I'm going to count, and I'm going to go all the way to 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I stop when I get to 16 because that's how many total squares I have. Now look, how many are in each circle? 4. So each one of my groups has 4 in it. So I see 4 right here in this column. So I can do that. That's one way. Now I need to show it another way. So here's a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, a fourth. But I also have 4 in my rows. So I can color this row, and I can color this row. So now I have 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. 4 equal groups. All right, and this lesson is taking a little bit longer than I thought. So we are actually going to just finish this page, and then we will stop for today. We will do page 310 tomorrow. So your job before you go is to do number 15. Going back to halves. You have 8 little squares that you need to divide into 2 equal groups. If you're not sure, use one of these methods to figure out how many go in each group. Okay, so you have 8 total, and you need to split them up into 2 equal groups. Go ahead and pause the video and give it your best shot. All right, so if you needed to do the circles, again, totally fine. 2 circles, we're dividing them into 2 equal groups. That's what halves means. And I have 8. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so now I know that I need 4 in each group. So how am I going to make 4? Well, I see that there is a row of 4 that's all touching. There's my first option. And my second option would be 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of like we did right here, where I'd color all of these 4 right here. So 4 and 4 to show 2 equal groups, a shaded group and a not shaded group. Okay, friends, we will finish this lesson tomorrow. I cannot believe how long it took us. And guess what? You're already ahead because we did most of it. So, great job, friends. I'll see you tomorrow.